Welcome to Lifestyle Solopreneur, the community for entrepreneurs who put lifestyle first. Join your host, Flavia Barris, as she interviews successful lifestyle solopreneurs and shares ideas to help you find the perfect balance between lifestyle, business, and self. Flavia is an attorney, marketing expert, and founder of several online academies. She's been featured in major media, including BBC World News, The Wall Street Journal, The New York Post, ESPN Television, and more. Join us for this episode of Lifestyle Solopreneur.
Hey, Lifestyle Solopreneurs. Today we get to speak with Stacey Olson. She helps busy leaders create more balance, less stress, and perform even better. She is a leadership and positive psychology certified coach, has over 15 years of corporate and business experience, and has gone through her own transformational change from being close to burning out to figuring out how to be balanced in life and accomplish even more. Stacey is the founder of the Balanced Leader Program. She offers coaching, workshops, and speaking, and is the author of her book coming out in June called Your Balanced and Bold Life. Work less, live more, and be your best. Welcome to the show, Stacey.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's amazing to have you. And I, by the way, love the title of your book. We'll get to the book in a little while. But first of all, tell us a little bit about how you ended up where you are now coaching, because I know people have all kinds of different paths to get to where their current career has taken them. And I'm super curious to know how you came to be this coach.
All right. It starts back where you said, back in my corporate career, I was burning out, learned while I was in it how to work considerably less hours and perform better and all that while I was still in my demanding career. And then when I left my corporate career, I was really fascinated by the question of how do we be our best, even with all the demands and expectations coming at us. And that is what really guided when I started my business and getting into coaching and speaking, was helping people who struggled with some of the things that I used to, and helping people create that path so that they can also be more balanced and less stressed out and things. And when I did start my business, I was naively surprised by how many people told me, you have to hustle and you have to work super hard and don't spend time with your family. Get your husband to take the kids to activities. Stop volunteering for at least 2 or 3 years till your business is up and running. And then you can have that time. And that really surprised me, just how I always thought it was a corporate thing. And it surprised me how much that was in entrepreneur side of things as well. And so from day one, I've been very intentional to design my business in a way that set me up to grow and coach and scale with clients, but do it in a way that had the balance I wanted in my life and what that looks like. And so have been very intentional with that. And that really is a big part of writing the book, is to help others with that as well.
And I find that's the crux of it, because entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneurs who left a full-time job of some kind, so they were working for an employer, someone else dictated their schedule likely, and they're like, I'm going to start my own business because then that way I can work a lot less and be more fulfilled and have more, balance in my life. And then these entrepreneurs, they start a business and pretty soon they're working twice the number of hours. I'm exaggerating maybe just a little bit, but working even harder than they work for an employer. Not everyone, being your own boss is fine, but not everyone is a nice boss to themselves. And also, entrepreneurs tend to wear a lot of hats, especially at the beginning. So I do think it's a recipe for burnout. How do you help people through this process and changing their mindset so that they can not fall into that same burnout that so many do?
Yes. So one is shifting the underlying belief that we need to work harder to be successful. And that's a path you can choose, but there's a lot of research and high performance practices out there that show that when we work less and we feel better, we perform better. And so that's one thing to help, is shifting that belief and understanding that we can be more effective when we do. And when we do keep boundaries, not only do we have space and time for the other important areas of our life, which is super important, it's that we also take care of our energy and what we need. And I talk about in the book that boundaries are really to protect your time and energy. And when we feel better, we perform better. We think more clearly, we're more focused and productive. We show up with people in a better way. I'm a far better coach with my clients when I feel better. And so just understanding that's an important part of our process. And then the other key thing is also we think, like you said, you wear a lot of hats in your business. And I think that's one thing that surprised me is, oh, wow, I'm IT and marketing and HR and all these different hats where I used to be able to just call someone to do those things for me. So it can be, if you're not intentional about your time and your focus, it can be very easy to end up with a whole bunch of things on your mile long to-do list and taking on too much. And so one thing, and I talk about in the book, is actually carving out your personal time first. Because what that will do, again, it won't just give you the time and energy for other important areas of your life, is you will make better decisions how you spend your time in your day and what you say yes and no to. And not just saying yes to all the opportunities, it's what really are the higher leverage opportunities for you as an entrepreneur. And I talk about how you change the question, you change the game you're playing. So for me, it is always, how do I grow my business and have the balance I want in my life and feel the way I want? And that is the game I am playing. And so all my choices come from that place where if I was just asking myself, how do I grow my business? I might end up with a whole bunch of things that then leave me feeling overwhelmed and spread thin and not really moving forward the things that do matter most. Shifting that belief about what's possible and that there is that path where we can be happier, balanced, and successful. And then keeping those boundaries, understanding you'll make better decisions with your time. And then another key part of that is learning how to stress less and calm your busy mind. That's been a big thing for me that I learned after my corporate career and has really served me well as a business owner, is how to not let the overwhelm or the stress of things take over. Because then like I talk about in the book, a lot of times I'd be sitting at my desk before I learned this, I'd be overwhelmed with everything to do and I wasn't getting done the thing I needed to get done. So learning how to manage your stress and be more calm as you navigate your different priorities and challenges in your day.
And so for you, what were some of the surprising things when you became a coach slash consultant working in this world? Because you used to be in more corporate and business, and now you're an entrepreneur. Was there anything that surprised you about this new life? You've done this for a while now, but I'm sure at the beginning there were some things that were not what you expected.
A few things. One, like I said, I was surprised just how much people struggled with the hustle mentality and working harder and harder to be successful, whether you were corporate, whether you were an entrepreneur. So I think that just surprised me because I coach people who are still in corporate and I also coach business owners and entrepreneurs. And I was surprised just how much people struggle with a lot of the same things and that they might have different circumstances and stuff, but a lot of the same challenges were there for people, whether it was confidence or overwhelm or how they wanted to feel. That was something that was surprising to me. Another thing that was surprising to me is early on in my business, I got into the online space. So I do coaching for people, but I also have some online courses and programs. And for me, that was surprising just how much went into doing that, where I thought, oh, you just create some free thing and you send it out to people and they sign up. And it surprised me that there's more to that to make it successful and set it up for success. So that was a big thing that surprised me. And then one other thing that I found quite surprising is just there was this message of that the only way your business will be successful is if you make it number one. And that kind of ties to the first thing I shared, but I was just surprised how much that came up and how that was the messages from whether it was other coaches I had who are helping me with it, or even people who I was coaching that wanted help with that, where there's just this mentality that the only way to be successful if your business is number one. And for me, my business was never going to be number one, for me. So it was really, how do we succeed in a way that you, it's not one or the other. It's like, how can you have the time and space for what's important to you and excel and grow in your business as well?
And there's a lot of people listening who want to be coaches and consultants, and they have a valuable skill to offer. They would love to find clients so they could, leave their corporate job, start their own business, share their expertise, but they don't have any idea how are they going to find clients, right? Like, how do I find clients who want to learn from me, who I can coach, whom I can teach and mentor? And so for you, what was that path like from you left a job in corporate America and then you went off on your own, started your own business doing the coaching and the consulting? How did you obtain those clients and what would you recommend? And maybe you made mistakes. So what would you recommend to someone else who's starting out?
Yeah, great question. So, how I really got my clients was from putting myself out there. And I think that's something where I just wanted to send the email and people would sign up, realizing that, oh no, I had to be more present. I had to reach out to people. And I think it's important to find, that would be my advice, is to find what feels right for you, whoever is listening, because I don't think there's one way to do it. But it was really putting myself out there saying, this is my business. Like, I remember right when I started and I had my website set out, and then I was posting it on LinkedIn and sending it out to all my friends and former coworkers to let them know I started a business and had a website. And I probably spent a week, I don't want to send this out and let people know, and what will they think? And just so letting go of that, what will people think? And just trusting yourself to go, okay, I'm going to put myself out here. I'm going to have the boldness and the courage to do it. And that's really where, at least early on in my business, a lot of my clients came from, just letting people know this is what I do. This is how I can help people, and having conversations with them. If somebody says, hey, I'm curious about working together, having that conversation with them, knowing they might choose whether they want to do it or not, and not being attached to the outcome. I think that was a big learning for me, is that, let's say someone decided that they didn't want to work with me. What did I do? What did I do wrong? And I had to learn to quiet that voice and just be like, okay, what can I learn from this? What can help me for next time? So it was a lot of trial and error and just putting myself out there and learning as I go. And then, like I said, learning what feels right for you, because it's important to take advice from others, because there's a lot of ways you can get clients and what you can do, but also take that advice, but also figure out what works for you. And so an example of that is, one thing for me, it's never really felt right for me to send a bunch of DMs, cold DMs, to a whole bunch of people. I tried it. I didn't like it. And so I've found a way to connect with people in a different way. So
I'm loving everything you're sharing because I think it's also very inspiring and motivating for people that want to start their own consulting or coaching business. For you, there's a lot of demands on your time because obviously when you have clients who depend on you to coach them and help them and mentor them, there's probably a lot of demands on not just your work time, but spills over or wants to spill over into personal time. So what are some of the ways that you keep yourself balanced where you don't become a workaholic, you don't fall into burnout again? And can you share some of those with us?
yeah, great question. So like I said, I've been very intentional about designing my business a way that fits. So my kids and my husband are more on the Monday to Friday during the day schedule. So I tend to have my rhythm the same as them. So the evenings and weekends when they're home, I'm not working. So with clients, it's having boundaries with your clients too. And this is why I say have those boundaries first, because I've had people who said, hey, I want to work with you, but I can only do coaching calls on the weekends. And then for me, that is, I'm not available on weekends. So if you do want to work together, this is the time I'm available. And sometimes that can feel like a scary decision to make, especially early on if you want the revenue from it. But it's really letting your values and having those boundaries, figuring out what that is for you, and then let that guide what you say yes or what you say no to for clients. And so having boundaries has been really great for me to stay the course and focus my time and energy. And it, like I said, it helps make better decisions on what I choose to work on and what I don't. Taking care of myself is an important part of my day. So I go for a walk a day. I take breaks when I need. I have an end time in my workday, even though I have my own business. If I didn't have a husband or kids and I was on my own, I might be more flexible with my hours. But I have an end time in the day because when you don't have an end time, it's very easy for the work to spill over. And I still a lot of days get done and go, oh, I should keep working on that. And it's no, take the time and energy because I know I'm more focused and productive the next day when I do that. So, having some boundaries, knowing what's important to you and what your values are and what leaves you feeling good, and just start giving yourself permission to put more of that into your day. Because I think the trap that people can fall into is, oh, I'll take a break when I hit that revenue goal or when I finish this project. But there's always going to be more to do. There's always going to be other projects to do. And so weave that more into your day to day. So again, I go for a walk. I take some time in the morning just for me to meditate and calm my mind. I take breaks in my day and have that end time, which helps me stay the course and take care of myself as I go through it.
I just love that clients are like, hey, let's give up Saturday mornings to do this. And you're like, no, I don't do that.
Mhm.
But that's what you're coaching them to do, is to set more boundaries and to maintain some more space in their own calendar. And so you're leading by example.
Absolutely.
I don't do that. And I'll train and teach you not to do that either, not to just give up your weekend time for
Yeah.
something that you could conceivably fit in during something that would make more sense as a work schedule.
And can I just add one thing to that?
Sure.
Most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, people go, okay, I can work with your schedule.
Right.
And so we think that we have to accommodate. And it's usually if you just say, hey, this is when I can, I'd love to work with you. Most of the time, people have been like, okay, then I'll schedule it when works for you.
No, it's great. In my line of work, I'm a lawyer. I do real estate deals. I'm hired on occasion to be the negotiator, right? And so if a client were to say, hey, can we renegotiate your fee? Can you do this for less? In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, you are literally hiring me to do a slam dunk job for you, negotiating on your behalf. How did it not occur to you that I'm going to negotiate just as hard for my own fee and salary? But that's just the thinking in the head, right? And I think for you, leading by example, by helping your clients see that, look, it is not impossible to set boundaries and to tell somebody, I'm just not available at that time. So I think that's just great. What would you say to someone who either is looking for the kind of leadership and coaching that you offer, which is to help people through their own transformational changes from burning out to leading a more balanced, successful work life? For people who are seeking that out, how can they find you and where can they learn more about what you offer?
So they can go to my website, which is staceyolson.ca. I also really suggest get the book, read the book. The book I wrote it to help people with this change and what they want to do and create it and shift that mindset and figure out what boundaries work for you and feel empowered to protect your time and energy. The book is coming out. I would get the book and read it and then go to my website and you can find other resources there. You can reach out to me. And I'd love to hear from people who are the listeners and want to know more.
So we're starting something new this year. We have a gift sort of vault for all of our guests to contribute something, a resource, a tool, something to all of our listeners. It's available at podcastguestgift.com. Again, something very new we're doing starting this year. And from Stacey, she's providing a free training and resource called Set Bold Boundaries with Your Time and Communicate Them with Confidence, which, oh, I love that whole statement, everything about it. So where is your book going to be available when it comes out? Because I know that's happening soon this summer.
Yes, it comes out on June 4th. And so it'll be on Amazon, any major book retailer. You can get it online and then also can go to my website and it'll be available there as well.
So lots of ways to connect with Stacey. Again, staceyolson.ca, spelled STACEYOLSON.ca. Stacey, it's been so great chatting with you. Just love this conversation. It's inspiring. It's just such a good reminder of all it's not easy to have that lifestyle that you really want and aim for. It's not. It's much easier to just fall into the burnout rut and just to let things pull you in all sorts of different directions. So thank you again for being a champion, for helping people set their priorities, stick with it, and avoid burnout.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me today. And I'll just add, it's not easy to do it, but it is easier than being burned out and spread thin every day.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, and if you leave a review on iTunes, I promise I will read every single review. If you know someone who makes a full-time living from part-time work, and maybe this is you, please visit lifestylesolopreneur.com to nominate a guest or to nominate yourself. Because remember this, money doesn't buy happiness. But money in the hands of a happy person, there is no greater tool.
Today's episode was brought to you by the Get Shift Done program. It's a lifestyle-changing online class to help you define your business and lifestyle ambitions and to set goals in a way you've never experienced before. This class will 10x your daily productivity with methods that will blow your mind. And if you use the coupon code podcast, the class tuition is 99% off. Visit GetShiftDone.com to enroll today.